Hi everyone, good morning. Happy 8/8. I hope that you are well. Oh my god, I hope that you are well, or as well as you possibly can be, and that you are living today as intentionally as possible if you are watching this today. However, this is something that I want to live outside of time, because the exercise that I'm going to talk about today, it can be helpful and done at any point, and will really be a gateway towards speeding up your manifestation. So yes, hi, thank you for joining. I hope you're all well. This is the first hour, the first minute of my life where I'm not listening to the new Beyonce album. This is foreign to me. It's been nonstop for me. But yes, I hope that you're all well. Today, 8/8, the Lionsgate portal, I'm going to be going live on Smudge Wellness's account with Jess Be Inspired. She's an incredible Reiki master. We're going to do a whole ceremony there. So because of that, I'm not going to talk a lot about Lionsgate because I want to save it for that. So if you want to join, it'll be at 12 PST, 3 EST. Thank you for joining. So join there for all the Lionsgate tea. But otherwise, I wanted to share an exercise that I'll probably share during that live as well, but also just like what I was doing today for 8/8 that I think would be really helpful for anyone. Thank you all for joining. Good morning. So obviously we all know today is a beautiful day to really align yourself with awareness of what you want and how you're going to call it in with that clarity. However, this exercise that I was doing for myself this morning is an exercise that can be done. It's mainly a journaling prompt, but it does call for some reflection. It can be done at any time. If at any point you are standing in your life and thinking, I need more, and I am deserving and capable of more, and my fullest potential calls for more, then this is a beautiful exercise to do that. So I have been reading, The Tao Chin. It's by Stephen Miller. Obviously, goes through this Buddhist studying and about Zen Buddhism and releasing attachment. And I've learned so much just in the week that I've been reading it, but also it's really invited me to reflect on the fact that we place so much of our desires and our worth attached to those desires into physical things. If you were calling in a relationship, you're calling in a job, or you're calling anything that embodies some sort of physicality, we can pour a lot into that and think that is the arrival of that is the arrival of our peace or of our joy. And so this exercise that I was doing really calls for us to look at what is the emotion behind the desire, and instead focusing in on that emotion, because manifestations happen so much quicker when we vibrationally align with what we desire rather than fixate on the physicality of it or the idea or just the thing that's housing said emotion. So if we go right to the core of what we want makes us feel, we'll get there so much quicker. None of that made sense? Absolutely. But I'm going to make sense right now. I'm going to break it down. So, for example, say you are calling in a new job or a relationship, reflecting on the fact that it isn't exactly the new job that you desire, but rather the sense of fulfillment that would come with it. Or it isn't exactly the relationship that you desire, but rather the feeling of being chosen or the feeling of being enough. So what I would invite you to do today, or any day really, is to get clear on what are the things that I want in my life, right? Am I really, really, really desiring a new home, to be in a new place, a relationship with my dream body? What is it that I want so badly, and what is the emotion underneath it? What is the actual thing that I'm wanting? So some examples, like I said, there's a fly in here, by the way, if you see him, ignore that. A relationship really is being chosen, or if you want a healthier body, truly you want to feel confidence. If you are calling in a new job, it's a sense of fulfillment. And also equally, I think sometimes we want something because we're avoiding a certain emotion. So if you're calling in a relationship, perhaps it's because you're avoiding a sense of loneliness. So once we figure out and really hyper and hone in on what the emotion is, it'll make the path to it so much more quicker. Sorry guys, talking today hasn't been the easiest, but I was like, I need to talk about this exercise because I spent an hour doing it this morning and it really was so helpful. So take some time, sit down. Today would be a beautiful day to do it, of course, because it's 8/8, but honestly, you can do this at any time and really, really, really write down what is it that I'm calling in and what is the actual emotion that I'm craving. Because in order to timeline hop, in order to quantum leap, the Spidey friends will grab it. I know there's a huge spider in my room that I haven't been able to locate in a few hours, and I'm like, it's somewhere plotting. But we're roomies. We love that. But yes, what's beautiful about quantum leaping is that actually ascending timelines isn't this like, sort of scientific metaphysical thing that a lot of people think it is. Truly, it means vibrationally aligning with the reality that you desire. And vibrationally aligning is so much easier when you put down the baggage and when you release the attachments of what you think it looks like. So what you think joy looks like, which is a relationship or a successful career or whatever the case is, and actually just accepting the emotion to be already innately yours and weeding out anything that is threatening it, right? So once we get clear on what the emotion behind the desire is, we can reflect on our lives and look at what is standing in the way of me feeling that emotion. So, for example, if I desire a relationship, understanding that underneath that desire really is, I just want to be chosen and I want to feel unconditionally lovable. And now I can reflect on, well, because my innate sense of being, my soul's purest state is unconditionally lovable and chooses itself, what in my life, whether it's a limiting belief or an attachment or a habit or any sort of circumstance, is threatening me already knowing that and already living in that truth? So yeah, it can be just a story that I'm telling myself, a past experience, perhaps a situationship that isn't honoring my worth, right? Being really, really honest on what is the current circumstance in my life that's threatening me, already knowing that I have that emotion innately. And I don't need to seek out an external attachment in order to get it. And that's how we vibrationally align. And thus, you call it in, right? Like it's not that you don't need the relationship, but rather that once you already embody what you're searching for in the relationship, it'll find you so much more quickly because you'll be at a vibrational match, at the same vibrational frequency, if that makes sense. So in summary, the exercise that I did that I would invite you guys to do is to just, if you're doing it for 8-8, I would just do writing 8 desires and then the emotion underneath them. But really it's as many as you want. If you just have like 3 major things that you're calling in right now, or 5 or 10 or whatever, write down what is it that you're calling in, and then right underneath that, what is the actual emotion that I'm seeking in having that thing? Or what is the emotion that I'm avoiding in order to have that thing, right? So if you're calling in a relationship, that means you're avoiding loneliness. Once you have that awareness, how can you instead greet the emotion of loneliness with a different perspective and understand that like, oh, well, why is it that I'm afraid of loneliness? What is so scary about being alone? And, in that shadow space, what can I explore a bit deeper? Or if you recognize that you're calling in a relationship because you want to feel chosen, in what ways can I begin to weed out what makes me feel not worthy of being chosen, or return back to a state of knowing that I'm innately worthy of being chosen? And so there's a lot of ways to go about that. For me, I started writing down affirmations of, I'm unconditionally lovable and I'm enough as is, and really just allowing my subconscious to hear the affirmation and the reinforcement of the fact that these things that I am seeking in external attachments are already innately available in me. And it really is recognizing what circumstantially is threatening me, remembering that. Whether, like I said, an attachment, a habit, a limiting belief, really letting go of what is threatening the thing so that you can really immerse yourself in already being the emotion, living in the emotion, trusting and knowing in that emotion. And thus, once you already have chosen yourself, once you already are in that state of confidence, circumstances will align with that vibration to support it. So a relationship where you don't need but get to enjoy because you're already at a vibrational alignment for it will come in. Or, if you're looking for fulfillment in career, opportunities that align with you knowing that you have something to offer just by being who you are and living in your essence will come in. Just know that like when we are calling things in, it really is, it repels it and slows it the more that we see it as outside of ourselves and the more that we see it as the thing, right? Like once I get the relationship rather than the sense of belonging and the sense of being worthy of love. Also, I think once we attach to like the thing and the physicality of it, we can control what it's meant to look like so much that we miss what it actually is. And so it's really detaching from the idea and the picture and the physicality of it and immersing in the knowing that you already are it. I hope that made sense. That's like my catchphrase at this point. I hope that made sense. Is there anything else? Yeah, so recognize what emotion is behind what you are calling in, whether it's an emotion that you want or an emotion that you are avoiding, and sit with that, be honest about it, and secondarily, be honest about what in your life is threatening it. Thank you. Makes sense. Thanks. Because I'm not known for making sense. Thank you. Yeah, and know that these emotions are in your core already innately. And it's up to you to rid yourself of circumstances that stand in the way of them. So yeah, that's a journaling prompt. What is the core emotion behind my desires? And behind that, what do I need to weed out in order to live in it? So yeah, just a little exercise that I wanted to share. Otherwise, I hope you guys have the best Lionsgate ever. 8/8 is a beautiful, beautiful day. Like I said, I'll be going live with Smudge Wellness today. If you want to join in a bit of a ceremony. But like I said, this exercise I think is helpful at any time, because once you really live in the truth of the emotion, you'll be able to call it in and align with its frequency so much more easily. And so yeah, one part of the exercise that if you want to do as well is I wrote down the affirmations that affirm the reality in which I'm already living in the emotion behind my desire. So yeah, I have dream body goals, but it really is because I just want to feel unconditionally confident. And so just affirming for myself, I am confident and I'm enough as is, and I choose myself. You already know the vibes. Anyway, sending you guys all my love. I hope you have the best day ever, and I'll see you for the full moon next week. A lot to say there. Okay. Bye, guys.